Hi everybody. Okay, so today we are on section 7.5 and I did give you note sheets. So just make sure you go ahead and put the date on the top. We're going to start actually with a warm-up today. Why a warm-up? Because I just want to make sure we don't forget how to graph either using a table of values or using the intercepts. So the warm-up says graph the linear equation by using the intercepts. Remember, I really want you to be able to identify why that's a linear equation. And it's a linear equation because the highest exponent for both the x and the y is 1, okay? So you're going to have to be able to tell me how you can tell if something's linear. All right, so how do we graph using the intercepts? Well, we've talked about this a lot, you've been quizzed on it. You create a table of values, which looks like this. And for the intercepts, we're going to let x be 0 and solve for y. And then we're going to let y be 0 and solve for x. Okay. So letting x be 0, we plug in 0. So 2 times 0 plus 6y equals 12. This is going to go to 0. We divide by 6, so y equals 2. So the coordinate point of the y-intercept is 0, 2. All right, the x-intercept, we're going to let y be 0. So if we plug in y, 0 for y here, this goes away. So we have 2x equals 12. Divide by 2 on both sides, and we get 6. All right, so the point 60 is my x-intercept. So we go to the point 60, which is on the x-axis because it's the x-intercept. And then we go to 0, 2. And then we draw a line. Oops, my line's not so great. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so something like that. Remember I said I want us going off the graph, arrows at the end. I also want us to now be able to, because we've been talking about slope a lot, could we say, is this a positive or a negative slope? Well, we always read the graph. Again, remember, Slopey, the story of Slopey, from left to right. So that line is falling from left to right, so it's a negative slope. Okay? All right, so let's move on. Today we're going to be talking about different forms of the equation of a line. So the first one that we're really going to take a good look at is one in the form where it's y equals 2x plus 4. This particular equation is called slope-intercept. Slope-intercept equation. And it's nice because by looking at it, I can tell you that the slope is 2 and a point on the graph is 0, 4. Now what is that point 0, 4? Well, you have to be able to recognize that when x is 0 and y is 4, that is the y-intercept. So do you notice where I got that from the equation? Right there. Do you see where I got the slope of 2? I got it right there. Okay, let's look at another one. Another example, y equals negative 1/2 x minus 6. Okay, I can tell you that the slope is 1/2 and the y-intercept is 0, negative 6. Well, I got the slope from right here, and I got the y-intercept, 0, negative 6 from right there. Notice the sign. Keep the sign in front of it. Notice my sign here. My slope is negative 1/2. As a reminder, m is the variable we use for slope. Okay, so this important equation we're going to be working with today. The slope-intercept equation is y equals mx plus b, where the m represents the slope and b equals the y-intercept. Okay? But as we've talked about, I would like you to always write the y-intercept as a coordinate point where x is 0, so 0b is my y-intercept. All right, so let's see how this is used. We can actually look at an equation, like the first one, find the slope and the y-intercept of y equals 3x minus 4. We can look at it and identify our slope because it takes on the m in the equation. So my slope is 3. So m equals 3. My y-intercept is negative 4. So we would write that as 0, negative 4. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. Find the slope and the y-intercept of 2x plus 3y equals 6. It's not in slope-intercept form, is it? So step 1 would be we need to put it into slope-intercept form. That means we have to solve for y. By solving for y. All right, how we do that? So we need to get the x to the other side. We're going to do that by subtraction. So minus 2x. So we have 3y equals, we always want the x to be in front and the constant to be second. So it's in the form y equals mx plus b. So I'm just going to rewrite that as negative 2x plus 6. But slope-intercept form is y equals, not 3y equals. So this has to be a coefficient of 1. So I'm going to divide everything by 3. Now, you have to make sure you divide each piece on the right by 3, because when you divide, you're dividing the whole thing by 3. So this would become y equals negative 2/3 x plus, we simplify 6 over 3 to 2. Now, we can identify our slope and our intercept. So our slope, our m, is negative 2/3, which tells me it's a negative slope, so the line is falling. And then my y-intercept is equal to 0, 2. Okay? Give you a second to keep writing that down. So you got to be feeling comfortable right now with our slope and our intercept. And I do want you to make sure that you understand what's happening to that line. So I do have a line that's kind of falling from left to right. It's got a rise over run of 2 to 3, so it's going down 2 and over 3. Because we are going to be graphing using this in a second. All right, so on the next page, let's just identify quickly our slopes and our y-intercept. Okay, this one's interesting. Is it in the form y equals mx plus b? It is, but what's missing? The b is missing. When the b is missing, it just means that it's 0. So my slope is 5, and my y-intercept then would be 0, 0. So just be careful, don't get caught up by it if it's not there for you. All right, our next one, y equals negative 3/2 x minus 6. Again, it's in the form y equals mx plus b. So my slope is, you guessed it, negative 3 over 2. X is not part of the slope. And my y-intercept is my negative 6, but we write it as a coordinate point, 0, negative 6. I want us writing this as a coordinate point as a reminder that it's, the y-intercept is where x is 0 on the graph. Okay, it's where it crosses the y-intercept. All right, keep going. 3x plus 4y equals 16. It's not in slope-intercept form, so what do we need to do? We need to put it in slope-intercept form. I'd like you guys to try that. Now remember, I said to put it in slope-intercept, it needs to be in the form y equals mx plus b. So try it, pause here, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the work for you so you can check. Okay, so I'm going to bring the 3x over. I'm going to put it in front of the equation so that it is already in the slight form with the x first. So plus 16. I'm going to divide every single piece of the equation by 4 so that that coefficient of y goes down to 1. And now I have y equals negative 3/4 x plus 16 divided by 4, it simplifies to 4. Sometimes it'll simplify, sometimes it won't. All right, then it's ready to identify the slope. The slope is my m, so negative 3/4. That means my rise over my run is 3 over 4. It's a negative slope, so the line is falling. And my y-intercept is 0, 4. Okay, again, where x is 0, y would be 4, where it's crossing the x-intercept. Okay, well now, guys, we can actually use this to graph. Slope-intercept is a really, really nice way to graph an equation if it's in that form. So we've got to be careful, though. The first thing we want to do is we always want to identify for ourselves our slope and our intercept. Okay, our y-intercept. So my y-intercept is the point 0, 3, and my slope is negative 2. Now, we've always done slope as rise over run, so I'm going to actually write their slope as negative 2 over 1. So what do? I go to my y-intercept first and I plot the point. So I'm going to go to 0, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to plot the point. The slope is negative, so in my mind, I need to know the line is falling. All right, so we are going to go down 2, because that's my rise, and in this case it's negative, so I'm going down instead of up. Down 2 and to the right 1. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go down 2 from that point and over to the right 1. And I can even do it again if I want. Down 2 and to the right 1. And then I'm going to create my line, do my best job at creating my line. I really like you guys using rulers. I'm going to go off the graph, okay? And there is a picture of my equation. Graphed. All right, let's try another one. Graph each equation using slope-intercept. First, we identify our slope. 3. If it's not a fraction, we're going to rewrite it over 1. So that means my rise is 3, my run is 1, and my slope is positive, so I know that the graph is rising from left to right. It's a positive slope. My y-intercept, I'm going to write as the coordinate point 0, -4. I'm going to go to my y-intercept. X is 0, y is -4. There's my y-intercept. And then my slope is up 3 to the right 1. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, over to the right 1. Up 2, 3 to the right 1, and up 2, 3 to the right 1. I'm going to do my best. Use my ruler that we have in class, or at home, use a piece of paper or your book. Go off the graph, put arrows at the end, and there's a graph of my line. Doing great. Let's try another one. Y equals -1/3 x plus 4. My slope, I identify it. My slope is my m. So -1/3. As a reminder, x is not part of your slope. Then we identify our y-intercept. Our y-intercept would be the point 0, 4. We go over to our y-intercept. Remember, y-intercept is along the y-axis. X is 0, y is 4. We plot our point. I know that my line is falling from left to right because it is a negative slope. So I go down 1 to the right 3. Down 1 to the right 3. And since that's off my graph, I'm going to stop there. And there, I'm going to go off the graph, put arrows at the end. Make sure you go off the graph. All right, last one. Y equals -3/4 x plus 2. So my slope, again, is negative. I love those negative slopes, don't I? -3/4. My y-intercept is 2. We write it as a coordinate point, 0, 2. I go to my y-intercept and I plot the point. I know it's a negative slope, so from left to right, my line is falling. So I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just want to make sure you understand, though, I also could go up 3 and to the left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would also work for slope, as long as you recognize that this means it's a negative slope, so it's falling from left to right. And then we draw our line and we go off our graph, and there we are. Okay? All right, so we'll be checking this tomorrow. We'll be practicing a lot. We'll probably be practicing everything we've done so far in Chapter 7. Okay? All right, have a good night, guys. Bye.